Alright, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's been a lot of talk about the weapon stat in PvP, and a lot of people have been coming to me on stream saying that, oh, I'm trying to build into the weapon stat because it's very good in PvP, that I need to rock it in every build, but I'm sacrificing health and all this. And I keep telling people it's rage bait. Don't build into weapon stat. It's not worth it, man. It's the amount of investment you have to put into is not worth the substantial gains of the weapon type, and that only depends on the type of weapon that you're using. A lot of people are still saying, no, I still need to rock my weapon stat. It's really good. Trust me, all this, all that. And I wasn't falling for the copium. I knew already out the gate that it wasn't that strong, except for like, a couple of weapons. So I spent a whole day of a stream, if you're seeing in the background footage right now, of testing every single weapon archetype of primary weapons with damage perks to see which weapons actually benefit from the weapon stat to ship their TTK values at all with a damage perk. So it took a long time. It took roughly about several hours on stream just testing out all this. So please, if you would, please like and subscribe, because the amount of pain and suffering I had to spend, the amount of glimmer I had to spend to make weapons that I didn't have because my vault got deleted a while back. So I was trying to find, weapons to fit the categories of each archetype of weapon for primaries. It was a lot. So I was able to get every single weapon archetype more or less of some damage perks too. And I'm going to go over every single weapon archetype in categories of primaries types first and their RPMs, including some exotics that might have the capability to get TTK ships with their exotic perks. So all that's going to be covered in today's video. In the description, there will be timestamps of every single weapon and the specific archetype of testing to see which ones benefit from the weapon stat the most. So if you want to go in there and see which one specifically, you have that availability for you. So it's going to be a long one. Grab a drink, grab a snack, and we're just going to get into it. So we're going over hand cannons first. For my discovering of hand cannon with the weapon stats, for 100 RPMs, that's the shotgun hand cannons, there was no noticeable TTK shifts with Aura's Neutralizer or Phonotria with either Swashbuckler or Trench Barrel. None of them were able to one-shot headshot kill with either of them. The only way you can right now is with Trench Barrel and Radiant, or Swashbuckler with Radiant. That was the only way to get it done. So the weapon stat itself does not help out at all. So you do not need to worry about investment into the weapon stat for shotgun hand cannons. For 120s, the only 120 that benefited from the weapon stat was Round Robin with Kill Clip. With Kill Clip and 130 weapon stat, it allows you to get a 2-tap kill to the head every single time. So now you see there is a little bit of investment into the weapon stat for that archetype. But if you want to invest into that to guarantee 2 taps every time you get Kill Clip, you want to aim for 130 weapon stat. I did try Igneous Hammer with Golden Tricorn ×1. Even with 200 weapon stat, it does not allow for a 2-tap kill. The only way you can right now is with the Artifact mod Fever and Chill with Radiant. That's the only way with ×1 Golden Tricorn to 2-tap right now in the Crucible. So other than that, you need to rely on getting Golden Tricorn ×2, which is not too terribly hard right now with the Hunter knife build going around right now. So if you want to take advantage of that, that's probably the best way to do it. But at ×1 with 200 weapon stat, it's not worth it. Moving on to 140s for what I found. So using my old Kindred Orchid with Kill Clip and Rampage, you are able to get a 2-tap kill with both those perks procced and 200 weapon stat. That's the only way. I tried 190 weapon stat, 195. It has to be 200. That's the only way you're able to get 2-tap kills with that specific hand cannon. Fatebringer can 2-tap with Elemental Honing ×3 plus Radiant. And again, Prismatic has a lot easier ways to proc Radiant and get those different damage sources to get Elemental Honing ×3. So you're more likely to get that more functioning and more consistent in your duelings in PvP. Whereas with, Kindle Orchid with Kill Clip and Rampage, you have to get a kill and you only have a couple of seconds to take advantage of both of them together. It's not as feasible with that perk combination, but if you were using Fatebringer with Elemental Honing and Radiant in your Prismatic build, you would able to take advantage of that. Other than that, there was no other sources that were really benefiting from the weapon stat at all. It might help out for forgiveness values for getting 2 headshots in one body, but for overall TTK shifts, the only ones that I found was Elemental Honing on Fatebringer and then Kill Clip and Rampage on Kindled Orchid. Moving on to 180s. The only TTK shift that I could notice from the testing that I done was with Sightline Survey with Precision Instrument. With that, to get a 3-tap kill every time you enter an engagement, you need to have Precision Instrument and 185 weapon stat. You need that approximate number, give or take a stat point or two, to get the 3-tap kills every time. Anything less than that, you will not get it. So if you really want to take advantage of this as your mainstay, again, you're sacrificing health, you're sacrificing grenade stat and everything else, you need 185. It's a very, very huge investment. But if you wanted to do it, you have the availability. Moving on to the heavy burst archetype of hand cannons. With this one, I tested Agape from Kepler. I wanted to see specifically because it can get Precision Instrument. I wanted to see if there was a way to bump it up to where it can 2-burst with the hand cannon with precision. And fortunately enough, it can. However, the investment to get a 2-burst TTK shift with Precision Instrument requires 200 weapon stat. That's the only way with just weapon stat investment itself to get 2 bursts. Of course, if you were to use Radiant instead, you will be able to get that more frequently. But again, purely based on the weapon stat, you need 200 weapon stat. Keep that in mind. Now, Hawkmoon. This one I was interested to see if the weapon stat would affect paracausal charges and help out with its more ease of use for, getting consistent 2 taps or 1 taps with the perk or anything like that. And what I found out is that with Hawkmoon, you're able to 2 tap with paracausal times 3 and 150 weapon stat. So with all that together, you can get up to times 3, prime it down to the last 2 bullets, get 2 headshots, and you're done. A guaranteed kill. So it's very nice for that fact. And it does help out with Hawkmoon a lot because Hawkmoon tends to, have some less leniency with its paracausal charges. So if you want to invest in that, for Hawkmoon, if you really like Hawkmoon, you can go that route. Moving on to Thorn. As we all know, Thorn was a main staple for helping out with resilience values in PvP and was kind of the staple benchmark of what you wanted your resilience value to be in the previous armor system, because Thorn, with its perk, I believe it was below 7 resilience, you would always get burned by a 2-tap with the perk active. For my testing with Thorn, it no longer 2-taps with the perk and 200 weapon stat. So no matter how much weapon stat you invest into, you will not be able to 2-tap anyone in Crucible, even with the perk. The burn damage is not enough, the damage is not enough, so Thorn has been severely nerfed. Now with that being said, there is a way to counteract it. In order to 2-tap in the new system, you need to have 110 weapon stat and Radiant. With that weapon stat and Radiant combined together, you're able to 2-tap, and the burn damage with the perk is able to get the kill for you. So keep that in mind. If you like Thorn and you want to still use it in PvP, you need to have a minimum of 110 weapon stat, bare minimum, bar none. Anything less, you will not get that kill. Nextly was Ace of Spades because of Memento Mori. Memento Mori used to be able to 2-tap with a lot of other combinations back in the previous system. Now with the new updated system, in order to get a 2-tap with Ace of Spades, you need to have Memento Mori procced, you need to have Radiant, and have a minimum of 135 weapon stat to guarantee a 2-tap. Of course, you can substitute Radiant for an Empowering Rift or anything of the sort of a similar damage buff, but bare minimum, you want Radiant and 135 weapon stat and Memento Mori procced, guaranteed to get you 2-taps. Already we're seeing here, there's a lot of weapons that you need to severely invest into damage buffs and weapon stat as well, just to get some TTK shifts. So there's a lot into this. So I want you guys to keep this in mind as we go forward. So that was the hand cannon section. Let's move on to pulses. For high impact pulses, they can already 2 burst to the head, so there's not really much use for the weapon stat. However, there's one ease of use factor for this archetype. If you have kill clip and 150 weapon stat, you're able to 1 burst to the head and 1 burst to the body for a guaranteed kill. So it adds a lot of forgiveness value to your TTK. There's also another benefit to the weapon stat. With elemental honing times 2, which is not too hard to proc in PvP, you're able to 5 crit and 1 body while you have 145 weapon stat. Now, is that worth rocking the weapon stat for? In my opinion, not really, but that option is there if you want to add the forgiveness like the old system used to be for high impact pulses and why they were so good. Moving on to adaptive pulses, and for this one, I was using the Kepler pulse rifle that everyone's been raving about, speaking of which I'll be doing a review on that sometime later in the future. So testing with that specific pulse rifle from Kepler with elemental honing, what I found is that you're able to 2 burst with elemental honing times 1, but you need 185 weapon stat. It's a very huge investment to the weapon stat just to get consistent 2 bursts with elemental honing. That's not including the proc of the initial burst, because again, in order to proc elemental honing times 1, you need to get initial damage source done onto a target. So the first bullet in your 3-round burst is not going to have the increased damage. The second and third bullet will have the increase. So even then, it might not guarantee the 2 burst kill every time on the initial one. But once you have elemental honing procced, you will be getting 2 bursts consistently. Now, the flip side to that, you can still 2 burst, but with elemental honing times 2 with severely less investment with only needing 105 weapon stat. So keep that in mind. Moving on to lightweight pulses. As we already know, lightweights can 2 burst with kill clip procced on, Shattering Bone and Stay Frosty. However, I wanted to see if it would help out with other kill perks to help ease the TTK value of the weapons. The only thing I was able to find to shift the TTK values with damage perks was that Rampage can 2 burst when you have Radiant on 115 weapon stat proc. Other than that, lightweights right now are still very dominant in their TTK values with just a simple sword logic damage perk or even kill clip. So that's kind of like the overall under what you want to be running on the lightweight pulses. However, if you have one with Rampage, you're still able to rock 2 bursts and you just got to go through substantially more hurdles to get that TTK values. For rapid fire pulses, from the testing that I done with kill clip and other damage perks, there was no notable shifts with TTK values at all that I could find with rapid fire pulses. Now again, keep in mind that's because my vault is very limited right now because I deleted it a while back, so I don't have a lot of weapons of those archetypes. But from what rapid fires I was able to test, I didn't see any shift. Moving on to the aggressive bursts. Aggressive bursts already can 2 burst as well. I wanted to see if kill perks can help add forgiveness to our TTK values. And what I found out was that an aggressive burst pulse rifle with kill clip can 1 burst to the head and 1 burst to the body with 115 weapon stat. So you want to add more forgiveness to your TTK, definitely you want to rock 150 weapon stat with an aggressive burst pulse with kill clip. Moving on to the heavy burst pulses, which include Aisha's Care and Nullify from Salvation's Edge. From the testing that I did with the weapon stat, there is no notable TTK shifts or ease of use shifts with weapon stat investment at all. So everything, the weapon as itself, you don't need to invest in weapon stat at all. It's already good out the box. You just need good consistency perks for PvP, and then you're good to go. Moving on to autos. I'm going to mention this now that these and the SMGs were very hard to test for TTK values and TTK shifts just because of the nature of how they function, being automatic weapons. So these numbers might be slightly skewed a bit, but from the testing that I was doing, these were the results I was able to find. For 720 autos, their base TTK is 10 headshots. With kill clip procced on them, it's an 8 headshot kill. Now, you're able to get a 7 headshot TTK when you have kill clip, radiant, and 175 weapon stat. It's a lot of investment for a very little TTK shift. That's the thing with auto rifles and SMGs later on in the video. They don't really need weapon stat investment. They're already fine out the box, and other damage perks already help them out a lot, so they don't really have much benefit. For 600 RPM autos, their base TTK is 9 headshots. With Golden Tricorn procced on an auto, it goes down to 8 headshots. And of course, if you get the Golden Tricorn times 2, it's a 6 headshot kill. Now with the weapon stat, there was no noticeable TTK shifts at all with any weapon stat, even up to 200. So for 600s, you don't want to invest into weapon stat at all. For 450 autos, their base TTK is 7 headshots. With Sword Logic proc, it goes down to 6. Now with even 200 weapon stat, there was no noticeable TTK shifts at all. So weapon stat does not matter on 450 autos. So keep that in mind in the future. For any weapons you're looking for of that archetype, you don't need it. Moving on to 360s, the sleeper meta option right now for PvP. At base, their TTK is 6 headshots. With Golden Tricorn or Radiant, it's a 5 headshot kill. If you have Golden Tricorn times 2, it goes up to a 4 headshot kill. With the weapon stat and any of these perk combinations proc together, there was no noticeable TTK shifts at all. So even at base, you are still getting a 6 headshot kill. At Golden Tricorn, you're still getting a 5 headshot kill. But Golden Tricorn times 2, it's still a 4 shot. No shifts at all. So 360s also included do not need weapon stat investment at all. Moving on to scouts. Now for 150s, I was testing the Kepler Scout Rifle with Adagio. With Adagio and having an investment into the weapon stat, you're able to 2-tap with Adagio procced, but you need 200 weapon stat. It's a very huge investment, but if you do have it, you're able to get consistent 2-taps so long as you have Adagio. There's a lot of power in this setup, but you run the risk of losing out on health and your other stat spreads in your build, so keep that in mind. So if you're going to rock this, you need to full send it completely. Moving on to 180s. From what I tested at base 4 headshots, with Paracostal Affinity, it's a 3 headshot kill. Now, using the weapon stat for this weapon, there was no TTK shifts at all with the weapon stat. It didn't help the TTK shifts at all. It didn't help adjust anything. So weapon stat does not matter for 180s. A damage perk is what it needs to be able to 3-tap. The weapon stat is not enough of a buff. Moving on to 200s. For this one, I was using a scout rifle with multi-kill clip. Now, you're able to 3-tap when you have multi-kill clip procced and you have 140 weapon stat. There is a TTK shift with that, but you do need a considerable amount of weapon stat investment to get that functionality. Moving on to 260 scout rifles, which we already know, a lot of them can already 4-tap with precision instrument. That's what everyone usually runs in PvP. Now, I tried it at base, and 260 scouts cannot 4-tap with 200 weapon stat base. They cannot. It's just below the bar to be able to get it significantly. If Bungie ever does buff their initial damage output, then they can. But at base right now, they cannot with weapon stat investment. They need a damage perk to guarantee the 4-tap kill. And again, like I stated before, precision instrument on these scout rifles guarantees a 4-tap kill every time. So you always want to rock that one if you have that availability. There is a ease of use and TTK shift with this weapon with Sword Logic, which allows you to get a 3 head and 1 body shot kill with 190 weapon stat. That compared to Precision Instrument having the 4-shot kill every time, it's not worth it. Moving on to DMT, just because it's a 120 scout rifle and I was interested to see what would happen with its perk. So from the testing that I did with weapon stat values, what I saw was that it can 1 headshot, 2 body shot kill with Radiant and 200 weapon stat. Now again, this is when it's aiming down sights. Now, with its perk procced, it can 2-tap with Radiant or an Empowering Rift with Cranial Spike times 5. So, there's a lot of value with DMT with Radiant and Empowering Rift and Cranial Spike that is not reliant on the weapon stat at all. It just does it as base. So you just need Radiant or Empowering Rift to have Cranial Spike times 5 2-tap. Weapon stat does not affect that enough, so do not worry about that at all. Moving on to SMGs. This one was another rough one to test. So pardon me if the numbers are a little skewed up a little bit, but the ones I was able to test, this is what I found out. For lightweight SMGs, and these ones are the ones that do more headshot and less body shot damage, their initial TTK is a 12 headshot kill. It goes down to 11 headshot TTK, which is about a 0.67 with Swashbuckler times 1 or 200 weapon stat. So there is some benefit to this to help get a 0.67 TTK with SMGs with 200 weapon stat. But again, that goes from a 0.73 to a 0.67. A 0.06 second difference is not much in PvP. That's like a fraction of a second. So is it really worth it? Not really. Now moving on to the adaptives. These ones do less headshot damage, but more body shot damage. So for these ones as well, they also have a 12 headshot TTK value. They go down to 11 headshots with Master of Arms. Now, if you have Master of Arms and 200 weapon stat, that goes down to a 10 headshot kill, which I believe is a 0.63 TTK. So again, not really needed. The fraction seconds of a difference for the TTK values, I mean, with SMGs being bullet holes too, it's not really worth it in my opinion. Moving to 720 SMGs. At base, they're a 10 headshot kill. If you have Master of Arms procced on these weapons, it goes down to a 9 headshot kill. And if you have Master of Arms and 200 weapon stat minimum, it's an 8 headshot kill. Again, not much of a difference. It's fractions of a second off the TTK. And with the nature of SMGs just spraying down bullets, it's not really needed. And then over to 600 SMGs. At base, they're a 9 headshot kill. If you have kill clip on these SMGs, it goes down to a 7 headshot kill. From the testing that I've done with the weapon stat, there is no noticeable TTK shifts with any damage perks, with Radiant, anything else. At base, with just kill clip and anything else, it does not sway the band any more so than it would be with another damage perk. So it's not worth it to invest into the weapon stat for 600s. And lastly, onto sidearms. Sidearms was actually very surprising. I found one specific thing that was going to be very, very strong in PvP once people pick up on it. So starting off with adaptive sidearms. At base, they're a 4 headshot kill. Now, sadly, with any damage perks or like buffs of Radiant or Empowering Rift, there is no noticeable TTK shift at all from either the weapon stat or damage perks. So keep that in mind. Adaptives do not need weapon stat investment. Onto precision frames. At base, they're a 4 headshot kill, but if you happen to have a multi-kill clip, it does allow for a 3 headshot kill when you have multi-kill clip procced and a weapon stat of 165. So that is a substantial buff to the TTK, but it is also a huge investment to the weapon stat. Moving on to lightweight sidearms. Lightweight sidearms at base are a 5 headshot kill. If you happen to have sword logic on one, you're able to get a 4 headshot kill with 120 weapon stat or just having kill clip proc. So there is some benefit to rocking the weapon stat for this weapon. If you have a lightweight sidearm with kill clip, you don't need to invest in the weapon stat at all. It automatically just gets you a 4 headshot kill. So now heavy burst sidearms. Heavy burst sidearms at base are a 5 headshot kill for a 3 burst. If you have a damage perk like Desperate Measures, for a 2 burst 4 headshot kill. Now, with the weapon stat investment for this archetype, there is no noticeable TTK shifts at all for this archetype. So keep that in mind. For the heavy bursts, you do not need investment. You just need a simple damage perk that shifts the TTK value enough to allow for a 4 headshot kill. No investment in weapon stat will shift that at all. It needs a damage perk. Now, the biggest surprise, adaptive burst sidearms. Adaptive burst sidearms require 3 bursts for a 7 headshot kill. Now, if you have an investment of 170 weapon stat, it guarantees you a 2 burst headshot every single time. And we already know adaptive burst sidearms are very strong for shotgun rushers, or even right now with shotgun hand cannon users in the meta right now. If you invest into that weapon stat for adaptive burst sidearms, it's disgusting. It's stupid strong. This one, a lot of people are going to sleep on this one, but if people start investing into that, if you really full send it, that is monstrous, and it's going to be very hard to counter in PvP. So if you really want to invest into sidearm usage, maybe with Mechanier Strict Sleeves, definitely rock an adaptive burst sidearm with that with 170 weapon stat, and you'll guarantee 2 bursts every time. Keep an eye out for that one. And lastly, for the final archetype, it's going to be the rapid frame. At base, they are a 6 headshot kill. Now, with the weapon stat, it does allow for ease of use, allowing for a 5 headshot and 1 body TTK with 150 weapon stat. However, it does not shift the TTK value with the weapon stat investment at all. It does not benefit from that at all. It needs a damage perk to shift the TTK value at all. So don't worry about weapon stat investment. You need a damage perk. And with that, that is all the weapons I tested in PvP today. Please, please like and subscribe, because that was pain on earth. Test out all these archetypes of weapons with primaries and all that. Not even going into like overshield usage, frost armor. I might make a separate video if this does well. Who knows? That's going to be a whole nother banging my head on the wall for that. But yes, hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Special shout out to the community members that I'm putting up right now on screen that helped me out with the testing of all this. They were true heroes for this. Like, imagine just sitting there getting shot in the face multiple times. I would have lost my mind. Hell no. But shout out to them. But yeah, be sure to give them all the love and support if we happen to see them in the community, or if they're on Twitch streaming. Be sure to follow them. You'll have a ton of fun with them. And again, I much appreciate them for helping you out with that. But that's going to do it for this video. So hopefully you all enjoyed this. Hopefully this helps clear out the air for the weapon stat in PvP, and helps you guys better understand what to invest for in the system and why it's not really worth it. The only ones real benefiting from this is 120 hand cannons, the adaptive burst sidearms, adaptive burst pulses, and Hawkmoon. Also, it would mean a lot of people drop a follow for me on Twitter and TikTok as well, because your boy is recently getting into VA work, because I've always wanted to be a voice actor. And any clips that I've been recording of that, I've been posting on TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. If they don't want to copyright bomb me to the absolute hell, the clips will be there if you ever want to see them. So if you want to be on my journey of like becoming a voice actor, follow me there, and you can catch the clips of whatever ones I do, and then maybe you can recommend some and I'll do them. Who knows, man? So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Like, comment, subscribe if you do, and I'll catch you in the next one. And don't you ever forget to keep it chill.